Did you know that 25% of the bones in the human body are located in the feet? Shane facts. Hello and welcome to Assorted Meeples. I'm Phillip, the Meeple on duty, and today I'm going to talk about some games that I bought. Why do I sound guilty? Well, because I'm trying to keep my game spending under control. I'm also trying to keep my games on this shelf right behind me, which means I need to start getting rid of games or consolidating games into different storage solutions. Now, the problem is I've bought more games and I've got to wrangle them in there, and I really need to get going on my Marvel United storage solution, which I've just hit a wall. And anyways, we'll go into that one later. But right now, actually I'll hold off on grabbing that for a second. I just went on an extended date with my wife, and we happened to stop into Barnes & Noble because, one, books, and two, board games, because Barnes & Noble has an amazing, actually a really good selection of board games. Unfortunately, they're priced on the high end of retail. Like, they add on a little extra. I don't understand why, but their games just are a little more expensive, in my opinion. They just set that bar a little bit higher. But I was looking at board games, just looking, no intention to buy because they're all full price. Well, my wife walks around the corner because she had gone off to look at her own stuff. And she walked around the corner holding a box of Charterstone that, as you can see right here, has that lovely little 50% off sticker, and that just decided it needed to come home with me. Now, Charterstone is a legacy worker placement campaign style game that I have always wanted to try, but never wanted to put out the money for, if that makes sense. So picking it up 50% was a steal of a deal for me, and I decided to go with it. It's by Stonemaier Games, so I know it's a solid game without ever playing it. It's got good reviews. I'm curious to see what it looks like, and it is 60 minutes. But it is a bit of a campaign that you're building up your board, and then once you finish the board, that's your game board for every play after that. So I'm very curious to actually play this game with Heather. It'll probably be with Heather, and we're going to play it 2-player and build it all out. And then she's like, "You didn't see the clearance section?" I'm like, "No, I haven't seen the clearance section yet." So she wandered me over, and I immediately caught sight of the box that she missed, which is Beez by Next Move Games, published by Plan B, or it's another company of Plan B. I don't know how well you can actually see those boxes. There, we'll do it just like so. Beez is a movement game where you're collecting nectar and completing puzzles, scoring objectives along with everybody else. So there's public scoring objectives, and then you have private ones as well. And you're moving your bees around the board to collect the pollen that is put out. The game board is modular, so each game will kind of move and shift as it goes along. I just never got around to buying this one. I almost bought this one when Plan B closed their web store and shipped all their stuff over to the Asmodee web store. But I didn't, so finding it at Barnes & Noble for half off, I gladly paid that money because I do know this is a pretty solid little game, and I look forward to getting into it. Then we were on our way home. We were going to hit Costco for shopping for the week, or, stock back up, because it's what we do. We got 4 kids, and Costco and Sam's Club are some of the most efficient ways for us to keep food in the house, because they're not even that old and they go through it. But we stopped by Geek City in North Liberty. Now, if you are an Iowa local watching this and you don't know about Geek City, go look them up. And if you're within driving range, I highly suggest it. This is a board game store with extra stuff on top. It's not a game store that has a corner of their facility with games on it that are of middling quality. No. This is an actual game store. I would say probably about half of their space is dedicated to board games. And they have Kickstarters. They have games that fell through the cracks for me as well. So, again, if you're within driving range, and I will let you define your version of driving range to that store, it is worth a check out. They have tables for playing Magic and I think they have D&D. They have a lot of stuff. They have a Patreon set up so you can get exclusive stuff and tourneys and stuff like that they do. But we went in, again, just browsing. I had no intention. Well, okay, can't say I had no intention of spending money. But I had less intention of spending money knowing that I had already bought these two games. And we walk in and Heather finds this little game, Pylos, I do believe I'm pronouncing that right, by Gigamac, who are the ones that did, they got Squadro, they got a bunch of, and Corridor, which is on our 10x10 challenge. They did this game as well. And it is a very simple abstract game where you're building a pyramid out of spheres of wood. And the objective is be the last person to put your piece on the very top. Meaning you still have pieces and they don't. I enjoyed the play of this. It's another very simple, but plan your moves in advance, mess your opponent up once or twice, and take their victory away from them. It's great. Like, all their games that I've played, I have loved. And it's primarily because they're the simple, easy games that you can get out on the table. These also look like, if we get a studio space, this and games like that of theirs will be in the studio space in the front lobby where people can easily see them, play them, and they can just stay displayed so people can play them. The other game I found is a game I completely forgot about. I didn't even realize it had retail distribution because I knew the company had ran into a lot of problems with distribution or with Kickstarter fulfillments. I didn't even know this one went through a Kickstarter, just so you're aware. I just remember seeing it a little bit, but not that well. This is Rail Raiders Infinite. Is that on the screen? That is on the screen. Excellent. Rail Raiders Infinite is a light and fun train heist adventure. But it uses poker dice as the mechanic. Now, this has fabulous minis in a chibi style that if you're looking for that, like if you remember Super Dungeon Explorer, they produced like 3 games in really tight succession. This is part of where they ran into the problem. They ran 3 games in really tight succession. On Kickstarter, they went to every con they could have. They had big booths. They had the whole works. And then when it came time to fulfill the Kickstarters, they had a terrible time of it. Basically, Ninja Division Soda Pop Miniatures is hanging on for dear life at the moment. And they have lost a good chunk of their player base and fan base because of that. Do they deserve it? Yeah, actually, probably yeah. They made choices that probably were not the most financially sound. and they got caught on it, which a lot of companies right now are, because they ran into problems before the COVID lockdown and the COVID price hikes. But for $750 used with all the components there, these are great, fabulous minis that my wife wants to get into mini painting. So perfect practice, because there are like 20 something minis in here that are just absolutely gorgeous. I look forward to letting her paint it. I want to play this just to see how it plays. What I've heard is that while there's great minis, the game is meh at best. Extremely light, not fully thought out rule plans from the sounds of it. But I think there's a great core there that would just need to be brought, with a few polishes, could be brought to a great game could be pulled out of it. That being said, I just want to play it, and if it's bad, my wife has a bunch of cool little minis to paint that we can hide around the house and for people to find. So I also, and I'll be talking about this later, got a Kickstarter delivery from Pencil First Games, and that is the Skulk Hollow and Mall Peak board games, which I'm going to do a separate video for that because they're worth talking about. Like, I opened these and went, ooh, very nice. So, one of the best shipping that I've had in a board game. I think the only one that beat it was probably Everdell. And that's just because Everdell was such a huge box. It was a box within a box within a box, I do believe. So, yeah. Anyways, that's all I really had. I was just kind of updating on this. I try to behave myself. I'm actually going to go spend my bonus money here in just a second for a game that I did not back on Kickstarter, that I wanted to, that is coming close to fulfillment right now, and I want to jump on that boat before it closes out. So, I'm terrible, I know, and I love my wife, and there's reasons I spoil her rotten is because I like my games and I like buying, and yeah. So, I'm rambling now because I feel slightly guilty that I bought 4 games when I did not intend to. Even if they were for a great price, that's not the point. Point is I should not be buying more games. I should be saving space for all the games being delivered. Like, I have Dogfight in the mail right now, and I'm like, I don't know how that gets on my shelf. And that's the other one. I need to start working on that. I have all of Villainous, but I want to consolidate it down, even though, now hear me out, this has a great storage solution already. I just need better. So, that's here nor there. I'm going to say goodbye and quit talking now because I've talked too much at this point. So, we'll see you guys next time. All right, bye.
If you like what you just saw, please support us by hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel for more great gaming content.